talking about gamification today. And later in the webinar, we're going to be playing Kahoot, or we're going to have a demonstration of a Kahoot quiz. You'll find on your screen there, and I believe Luke's putting it in the chat, a game pin. Whether you use the link in the chat or use the QR code there, it's the same. You don't necessarily have to have an account, a Zoom account. You can just use it there. Join there because we will be playing later, okay, as part of a demonstration. I'm joined today by Luke, who's going to be helping me with the webinar today. And let's begin.
I'm monitoring the chat, guys. So if you do have any questions,
Hmm.
feel free to put your questions into the chat and I'll try and respond to those. And I have put the link for the Kahoot game in the chat as well. So you should be able to see that in there. Back to you, Josh.
Yeah, we'll be sharing that again later. So Luke can post it a couple of times before we arrive there, and then once we arrive on that page, you'll have another chance to sign up. So don't worry, okay? And if you don't do it, you'll still be able to watch others play, okay? By the way, everyone will receive a certificate of participation and a webinar handout in the next few days. We've had a little bit of problem with some of these emails bouncing, so if you don't receive it, or you haven't received fast ones, email us at formazione@MLA World and we'll get that out to you. All the information for the slides will be here, plus links and a lot of information. So you'll get that. So don't worry if we go through a little bit quickly. Excuse me for a moment. But
Yeah, as Josh was saying, oh, sorry.
no, you will get that information. Sorry, Luke, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say you'll get all of the participants. They'll get all of the information just to cover you whilst you were taking a drink.
Exactly. Okay. Gamifications, the concept of gamification, as the name implies, is the integration of these game-like elements such as points, competition, rewards into non-game contexts. So into our English lessons in this case, to increase motivation and engagement. In the classroom, basically it means turning learning into a playful, interactive experience. Again, it's not something maybe you can do 100% of the time, but it can be a nice way to reward students, to make lessons more interesting. Okay, and it particularly since most of us will be teaching young learners, it really taps into the same elements that make games irresistible. That is excitement, challenge, and obviously the thrill of winning or losing, as the case may be for me. Okay.
I think as well, Josh, sorry to interrupt. It's really good to use games or gamification as like an icebreaker as well, maybe at the start of term,
Mm.
where you've got students who don't necessarily know each other. Maybe they're in a new class. It's a good way to put them into teams and they have to work together almost immediately, which kind of fosters a good learning environment from from
Exactly.
from from the start.
And as long as we keep it fun, then that the sort of contest or the competition doesn't necessarily detract from their learning. In fact, it can actually help it. Okay. Why does it work with teens? Okay. Obviously, as I just mentioned, we've got the competitive spirit. So teenagers, and not everyone grows out of it. Okay. Not everyone maybe should grow out of it. Love to prove themselves. Okay. Games give them this chance to sort of showcase their skills and their knowledge. Okay. It gives them instant feedback, which is important too, that they can see if what they said or what they guessed was correct. Okay. And you can pair that with an explanation so that they can learn from their mistakes and celebrate the correct answers. Again, it doesn't necessarily, certainly doesn't mean that you'll be pointing out all the people that had it wrong, but it gives them the opportunity in a sort of lighthearted, in a fun context, to be able to see what they got right and what they got wrong.
Josh, sorry. Erica in the chat has said that it's not possible for her students or maybe others to use mobile phones in the classroom anymore. But Erica, just to let you know, we will be going through how we can use gamification as homework
Hmm.
and using other tools outside of the classroom. So even if you're not able to use phones in the classroom anymore, we can still use these tools that we're going to see outside of the classroom.
In fact, those things like as we'll be seeing Kahoot and these other things, you can assign them as homework, so it doesn't necessarily mean. And look, I would imagine that if you assign some sort of fun homework to people, then it's going to be much more likely that they'll do it. Okay. Yeah. And if you can use them, I don't know, maybe your school has a policy. If it's just your policy, obviously, you may be able to, you may be in the position of being allowed to make an exception for a day or something like that. Okay. And the other thing is you can use it even not necessarily with like the students using it. So you can use it if you have a limb, okay, that is an interactive whiteboard, or you have some sort of display, you can do it. To be honest, things like Kahoot don't even necessarily need to have the interaction with the students. You can play it and they can put up their hands. They can put up a number one, a number two, number three, number four,
Mhm.
okay, and share those numbers. So things like that, or they can shout it out. So it doesn't necessarily. Things like Kahoot are much more enjoyable if they're interactive, if the students are pressing buzzers and stuff like that, but they can be used just for display. Okay. Um, it gives them the visual appeal too, okay, so that they're fun, they look good, okay, and even with the things we'll be looking at today, uh, even the free side of it, you don't have to pay for it, and you still get a lot of things that are colorful, dynamic, have music. Okay, they engage these reluctant learners. And again, you're probably aware of things like Duolingo or what's the other one called? Babel or something. Okay,
Bubble, yeah, yeah, Bubble.
yeah, and these are sort of games that I know a lot of younger students who use that to learn languages. Okay, and getting them to play for 10 minutes, 15 minutes each day is like quite easy. Okay, once they get into it and they pick up quite a bit. Okay.
I think Duolingo, in particular, Josh, kind of tapped into this gamification where you create a streak, and then obviously the green bird
Exactly.
will send you a message if you haven't done any lessons for that day, and then to continue your streak. So yeah,
Yeah.
Duolingo in particular has tapped into the gamification of
Yeah.
learning.
And I mean, you can always encourage your students to use those. I mean, obviously, those sort of things are probably not going to be able to be used in the classroom. But encouraging students to use them, you'll see the results. And they're often they really have these sort of things that they um, don't bore you with grammar. They get you, doing fun activities. And obviously, there's the motivations through rewards, even small incentives. And we're going to have a look at the way the sort of rewards you can give people. Um, Even these things, it doesn't need to be an object, a snack, whatever it is. It can be even just a leaderboard in your classroom that shows who's going well, giving them badges, giving them points, things like that, and letting them do something rather than giving them something can really give them participation. Um, by the end of this session, we hope you're better able to use Kahoot and Wordwall to create engaging game-based activities for EFL learners. Be aware that you don't even necessarily need to create these things. A lot of these things are already created, so just be able to access them. You should be able to choose the most suitable gamification tool based on lesson goals and classroom context. And also, we'll have a little look about using AI to generate this interactive content and gamify traditional language topics. So this is sort of the way that even if you're restricted to not much technology in your class, you might be able to ask AI outside of class time, obviously, to help you, what can make this lesson more appealing to students? What's a game that could help students interact with these sort of class objectives? Okay. Anyway, starting with Kahoot, and I hope you're signing up there. Kahoot is a game-based learning platform that turns quizzes into fast-paced competitive fun. It's especially effective in English classrooms for a couple of reasons. One is it's really intuitive. It's really easy to use. Okay, it's quite easy to create quizzes, but it's even easier to find one of the millions of quizzes on there that is appropriate. Obviously, it means you need to check it. You need to make sure it's not full of rubbish. But once you get it, you'll see it's very easy to learn. Okay, doesn't need any specific skills. It doesn't need programming. It really interacts very intuitively. Okay, and if you're tech shy, then explore it, and you can see that it's quite easy. And even other people's quizzes, you can copy them and adapt them for yourself. So even if you find a quiz that's good, but it's got a couple of questions you don't want to use, you can use that quiz and just change your version of it. Okay. Students don't need an account, just a QR code or a PIN, as we've been sharing in the chat. Okay. And as I said, you can even get them to use it without the devices. You can just display it. Okay, can be used on phones, tablets, or laptops. It's a fun and engaging format. It's fast paced. It's colorful. It's competitive. It really makes a quiz into a game show, and it grabs their attention. Okay, it's got built-in music. Okay? I'm going to spare you from the music today. But it has these sort of countdowns that puts pressure on people. Again, you can change the amount of time you give the students so that you can, if you're trying to get them to make a quick choice or to consider it a bit more, you can do that. And it really has these leaderboards so you can see who responded, who got the quickest response, called quickest correct response. You can see who's on a winning streak, things like that. It all does that automatically.
Just to jump in, Josh, sorry. I'm going to put the link to the game into the chat again for any latecomers. And Barbara has mentioned that her students are not able to use their phones. We'll see later on, Barbara, how we can use these games for homework and outside of the classroom as well. So
Mm.
back to you, Josh.
Yeah, and as I said, you can do it as a presentation, and the kids can be putting up their hands or shouting out the answers. It doesn't need to have the students using the that there. Obviously, in that case, you're going to have to keep an eye on who's winning and things like that. Okay. Um, in minutes, you can find a prepared quiz or create your own in just a little longer. Okay, you can add images, audio, and video to support listening and visual learners. Okay, it does promote collaboration and creativity, so students can work in teams or even create their own quizzes. Okay, again, this could be a nice homework activity for them to do. Again, you can do this without a pay account. Okay, and again, the students can create their own things and give them to other students. So you can ask a student to create a quiz on a certain grammar or vocabulary topic, okay, or civics topic, okay. How to use them in your lesson. So you choose your focus. Okay, is it going to be on grammar? Is it going to be on, even in grammar, is it going to be on certain verb tenses or conditionals? Could it be on vocabulary? Are you testing phrasal verbs? Are you testing idioms or new vocabulary about a certain topic? Okay, is it going to be a reading comprehension or civics, cultural topics? Are you looking at English history or literature, things like that? Okay. Create a quiz, or as I said, you can search for the quiz. The quiz we're going to be doing in a moment is something that I didn't create. It's one I found. Okay. You can use Kahoot's library of ready-made quizzes, okay, or create your own with custom questions, images, or audio. And again, it won't, even if you're not fantastic at these sort of things, it won't take you long to pick it up. And you can usually make a quite good quiz of, let's say, 10 questions in, I would say, probably about 20 minutes. Okay. If you want to spend a bit more time putting nice pictures in, then it might take a little longer, but not much. Keep it short and snappy. Okay? I would say 8 to 10 questions is enough. Okay? You're not going to be doing it all lesson. You're going to be having part of a lesson. And again, it could be a summary at the end. It could be a reward on a Friday at the end of the week when the students sort of losing concentration. And again, as I said, you can play it with or without devices. um, their devices, I mean. Okay. As we mentioned before, you can play live or assign for homework. We're going to be having a look at the live mode for in-class competition, but you can also have this challenge mode, so the students play at their own pace. Okay, so you can set this quiz as homework, and as I said, it's going to be a lot more fun for the students to do this, and they can really, like I would imagine you could even give this as extra homework, and students would do it. Okay, it encourages interaction. Okay, so don't be afraid to pause it. Okay, well, you don't even need to pause it, but just don't click through to the next question, and get the students to explain their answers. And you can use team mode to promote collaboration. So in that case, you could get a team going under one name, and they have to discuss it. Therefore, you can make the time a bit longer. They have to discuss it before they actually choose their answer. Okay. And as we talked about before, you could let the students create their own Kahoots. Okay. And then you can also use their reports to identify common errors. So you can get a report of the amount of people who got each question right, and you can see where they're having problems, what they're, the ones where more students are getting incorrect, and that you can obviously follow up with some sort of targeted practice or discussion. So looking at those, instead of just asking one student and that student either gets it correct or incorrect, you can ask all the students and then look at how they responded, whether it's in homework or in the class, and you can see how many of them got each one right, and you can sort of use that to see what things you might need a bit of a revision or a bit more discussion. And again, you can celebrate the top performers with small rewards or shout outs. Could be fun if it's homework for them to find out who did it best the next week, the next day. Okay. That said, we've got this game pin here. So please use that QR code, use the link in the chat, or if you've got if you've got a Kahoot app on your phone, then you can just put in that game pin.
Josh, before we begin the game of Kahoot, Carmen has put a message into the chat asking about that she will only have or she only has the paper copy of a multiple choice quiz. How can she copy every single question with its corresponding options? I think, Carmen, this is probably something we're going to go on to in a moment relating to artificial intelligence.
One thing is, but yeah, I'm not sure if that's in there, but what you can really do is be aware that a lot of a normal mobile phone, not even the latest mobile phone, will now have the possibility to scan text. And so if you take a photo of
Mhm.
the worksheet, it can rip that out, and you can put it in quite quickly. I use this quite a lot to extract information from PDFs or websites and things like that, and they're not possible to copy it. So yeah, that's text extraction is very sophisticated now and is very intuitive as well. Okay. That said, let me just change my share for a moment. Okay. Okay, we've got a lot of people on here. Maybe you can see your own name there. Okay, people joining all the time. Okay. You can see that, can't you, Luke? Okay.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. In that case, let's start. I'll give you a couple more seconds to join. And with that, let's start. I think you'll still be able to join. So just make a note of that game pin, even if you join later. Okay. You can turn on the sound, but I'll leave it off for now. We're going to be looking at future forms in this. Okay. So, okay, we can use that for activities that will be finished by a particular time in the future. So, okay, are we using the future continuous, future perfect simple, present simple for future, or future perfect continuous? This is just an example of a quiz that I found that goes through the futures. Choose one. Okay, you got to be pretty quick here. Okay, so we had most people got it correct. So it is the future perfect simple that has that role in English. Okay, although quite a few people, about half of those people chose future continuous as well. Okay, again, if you're teaching the grammar, I'm not going to do it now, but if you're teaching that grammar, then you could use this moment to explain that or do a little bit of a revision or ask some of those people who chose the future perfect simple to explain. Give me an example of that. Okay. Congratulations on Meg, who scored best. The best score is generally calculated by the first correct answer. Okay, so the quickest correct answer. Okay. That said, don't worry, you don't have to do it immediately. It's always nice to just get it correct. Okay. Number 2, we can use be going to talk about. I think we should have a few more correct answers here. Notice the countdown on the left. Okay, so please, got 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. Okay, so arrangements and plans for the future. Okay. Okay. So again, Megan Sunshine are up the top there. Okay, and you can see who's so as you can see, the students would love to be able to see their name there. Okay. This time next week on the beach, so you have to fill in the correct form. Okay, I'll be lying, I'm lying, I'll have been lying, I'm going to lie. Got the countdown there on the left, and we can see how many people have answered on the right. Okay. Notice that when you plan this quiz, you can also change the amount of time, I think up to 2 minutes. Okay. Very good. Okay. Almost everyone got the answers correct there. Okay. Okay. Tina's come up 6 places there. Okay. And Sunshine and Meg are still up the top. When enough time, I'll buy you dinner. When I'll have, when I'm going to have, when I'll be having, when I have. Notice that here we're talking about a first conditional, if that helps. First conditional with when. This is one I would expect some students, not teachers, obviously, to get wrong. Okay. Very good. Okay. Everyone guessed that it's the present simple here as we go with the first conditional, the present simple in the if clause, or here it's when, okay, and the future in the other clause, the result clause, sometimes it's called. Okay. On holiday to Australia, I've just bought the plane tickets.
Why would you want to go there?
I'm Australian, so well, again, we would expect nothing less from our participants for the vast majority for them to get it right. Okay. Again, by December, in this house for 5 years. Okay, these are sort of more complex future forms here, this one. Okay, so it might be more of a sort of B2 level quiz, this one. Again, if you wanted, you could always adjust some of these questions, take out some of the more difficult ones, or add more in, depending on the level of your students. Okay, great. Okay, so we have the future perfect continuous there, one of the more complex tenses in English. Okay. Few changes there. Meg's still up top, or is still up at the top. Okay. Those shopping bags look heavy. You carry them. The immediate decision future here we have. Again, I'm not trying to demonstrate sort of the grammar or testing the grammar of our participants as much trying to see how sort of addictive these things can be and how fun to play them. Again, as you can see, you could play these just without the interactive part, so you wouldn't have this screen here to see who got it first, but you could still display it and have the countdown. Okay, It still works as a game. Okay, if you've got a whiteboard or an interactive whiteboard, a display, you can play it. Okay, I think we're gonna maybe. I hope this is the last question. Okay. Okay. Oh, really good result here. Okay. Okay, we're going to rush through a few of these last ones. Okay. Oh, here we have a bit more of a division. Okay. Oh, hang on. Let me just check. I'm not sure how this is going a bit long. Okay. Let's see. We'll do, if this is not the last, we might break there. Okay.
This is the final one, Josh, I think.
Is the final good? Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, back to the what we expect if I'm getting it right. Okay. So again, here at the end, if you're playing it interactively, okay, we have the presentation. So Sarah Bar got third, Nat second, and the winner was Meg. Okay, well done, Meg. Congratulations. You'll receive a certificate, as will everyone else. So we don't have any special prizes in this one, but the honour. Anyway, as you can see, that sort of thing is going to be really fun for the students to do it. You can have this session summary, so you can see which what percentages, which were the difficult questions, okay, these sort of things. So these sort of things can really help you there, okay. So let me just go back to our presentation. And we're going to pass on now to looking at Wordwall. Okay, Wordwall is a digital tool that lets you create interactive games and activities using customizable templates. Okay, it's perfect for reinforcing these language skills again in a fun way. Okay, this is a bit more various, so there's different things you can do here. There's different types of games. It's not just quizzes, but also games. Okay, we're going to watch a little video about how this works. Okay. Let me just make sure I'm sharing the sound. Okay. And it offers, as I said, a wide range of game templates. So you can have matchups, anagrams, sorting, whack-a-mole, okay, which is a game where you sort of like have to choose the correct one immediately. Okay. And they again, as we were talking about earlier, you can assign this as homework. Okay, they can be also collaborative too. Okay. Let's have a look at the video here. We're not going to play this one.
Are you looking for an engaging way for your students to practice vocabulary words? One that's free and allows students to...
Sorry, can you hear that, Luke? Yeah?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry, just always want to check. Okay.
Join with just a link and no additional logins, and one that keeps a leaderboard so there's motivation to do better. If that's the case, then I'd recommend checking out Wordwall. It's a fun way for teachers to create engaging activities for your students that allows opportunities for them to practice some of the skills and some of the vocabulary in your classes. Let's take a look at how it works. The website is wordwall.net, and you basically start by picking a template and customizing it. So let's start by logging in. So once you log in, let's get started by creating an activity. Here, you'll notice that you have lots of different templates for activities that you can choose from. Now I have this activity where I want to quiz students on these vocabulary terms, so I'm going to choose this option that says matchup. From here, I'm just going to copy and paste my definitions and keywords into these fields. So I just finished my 10 terms and I'm going to select the Done button. And Wordwall has provided a number of different templates that I can choose from. You can see these templates in this space on the right, and you can choose your template until you find one that you like. Let's take a look at a few of the choices. Once you find a template that you like, you can click the share button, publish your quiz, and share it in a variety of ways, including a hyperlink, embedding, or several different options. All students need to do will be to click the link, and they'll be taken directly to the vocabulary activity. Now, if your students can make it to the end, they'll get a score as well as a time, and if they would like, they can even enter their name on the leaderboard. So the website is wordwall.net. Teachers can sign up for it for free. Students do not need a login. They don't even really need to enter their name. As a teacher, you provide students a link, they click on it, and they are immediately able to join your vocabulary activity. So thank you for watching this video and learning a little bit about Wordwall. If you like this video, then
as you can see, this is Wordwall's a free thing. There is a pay section to it, just as there is with Kahoot, but I'm not paid by Wordwall or Kahoot, unfortunately. Okay, and I would encourage you to investigate it on the free side because I think you'll find it really good. One thing we didn't even talk about is that what you could also do is obviously make one of these games, have it on your interactive whiteboard or display, and get some students at the computer or the whiteboard and to play it individually or in groups, things like that. So you could even have it like 2 people up there, pressing the buttons or whatever, while the rest of the class, takes turns. So these sort of things, again, they could be used as homework if you need to use the devices. Otherwise, they could be used as display. Okay?
Josh, just to jump in quickly, Simona. So there are a lot of features that you can get with the paid version compared to the free one, but the free one really is sufficient for the classroom. I think the paid kind of subscription gives you an increased number of participants per game. Maybe I think it allows you to create more, but I mean, you won't need more than maybe 20 or 30 students playing at any one time. And like Josh said, there are hundreds of games that you can access free. So it really doesn't matter for the classroom, or even for homework, if you're using the free one compared
Yeah.
to the paid
In
version.
fact, and you can certainly put students in teams if you don't have enough players available. Okay. Using AI to gamify these topics. So we can use AI to create these multiple choice questions, vocabulary matchups or grammar challenges. So again, we've got a webinar, which I'll show you in a second, about using AI to create content, and therefore feel free to use that. So again, make a quiz like the one we looked at before in AI, then put it into Kahoot. Okay, so use it to generate that content, and then the Kahoot and Wordwall can make them into the fun games. Okay, an example could be create a 10-question quiz on the present perfect tense for intermediate EFL questions. Again, more specific you are, the better the content will be. Okay.
Sorry, Josh, to jump in.
Uh,
Elvira, so on Kahoot, you can't, I don't believe, you can't edit the language a quiz is in. So you would need to select a quiz that's been made in English. You can't select an Italian language quiz and then translate it into English. I mean, you could if you've got the time, but it's best just to pick a quiz that's been made in the target language. Okay.
For sure. Yeah, exactly. Although obviously you can use AI to translate something for you, and then you can take it out of the quiz and put it back in
Mhm.
the one. Okay. Um, let students use this AI to generate their own questions. I don't know if we really want to encourage students to use AI too much for their homework, but those sort of things can, they'll be using it anyway. So let's get it out in the open and get them to make something that they actually understand. Okay. Um, it encourages this creativity and the ownership of learning, and you can use it to adapt levels and themes. Ask it to simplify or expand content for different proficiency levels. So you might have a quiz that you think is maybe a little bit too difficult. Get it to scale it down. Take a photo in ChatGPT, say, for example, make a similar worksheet to this one, but at A2 level. It can really extract that stuff. So as someone was saying in the chat before, if you're having problems that you only have a paper copy of a quiz, these the free versions of AI can really extract that. And not just ChatGPT, there's a lot of other competitive AIs there too. And create themed games too, Halloween vocabulary, travel idioms, get the vocabulary that you want on that topic, and it can make this. Okay. We have a webinar that's on our YouTube page. There's a link in the handout, and it's about using ChatGPT for EFL, so prompt optimization. So that'll go into a lot more details about how to use this and the best way to ask it questions to get the best content. Okay. And finally, we just want to have a look at prizes. So as I mentioned before, prizes don't necessarily need to be objects that you have to pay for. There's lots of things you can use. You could say to students who win one of these games, play a song of your choice. Let the winner play the class soundtrack. Okay. It might be homework or question paths that they might get to skip the homework for one day, or a small task, or have a pass in when they get asked a question in the in class.
Roberta, sorry, Josh. Roberta maybe preempted that we were going to talk about prizes or rewards because she wrote in the chat that she sometimes gives her students an extra 10 minutes after break time is over to
Exactly.
I guess,
These
chill
sort
out.
of things, I want to encourage you not to think that you have to give them objects and buy and invest in things to, make them participate. Okay. These sort of things can be fun as well. So classroom privileges, they get to change seats. Okay. They get to lead a mini activity. Okay. Leaderboard recognition. Again, you can have this leaderboard on the class. They can get points. Okay. Sort of certificates, things like that. Pick a class activity. They get to choose the next game. They get to choose a discussion topic. Okay. Team advantage too. So you might, if you win an activity, you start with more points in the next one. Okay. And fun sharing too. They get to share a meme, a GIF, or a short video with the class, a bit like the song of your choice. So these sort of things can be fun ways of giving them a prize that doesn't necessarily cost you money. Okay. Just to conclude, these websites, these platforms are powerful tools to make your lessons more interactive and enjoyable, or your homework, as it may happen. Both offer free plans with plenty of features to get started. And okay, there are paid ones that they will push on you, obviously. Okay. And look, if you invest in it, I'm sure you'll get some value out of it. But have a look first, obviously. I'm encouraging you to see how far you can get with the free versions too. Okay. It really works with teens because it turns learning into something they want to do. Okay, these AI tools, and Wordwall also has AI inside it, can help transform even the driest grammar topic into a fun game-based activity. Okay, I like to issue all our participants are challenged. Try a gamified activity this week. Have a look at Kahoot or a Wordwall game and see how your students respond. And again, something we didn't really talk about, but because we've tackled it in previous webinars, is feel free to go on to AI and say, how can I've got to teach students this. What's a fun game you can make to do this? You know, a game that you can do in the class. Okay. We've got also other webinars that we've done on using games in the English classroom. So have a look at that webinar on our YouTube page. And we've already talked about these sort of do-it-yourself games. Okay. Let us know in the chat if you have some suggestions for future webinars. We've got a lot of good ideas in mind. You'll receive a certificate of participation, and that will also come with the handout. If you don't get that, email us that format's shown here. Okay. Our next webinar will be next week. I think Luke's going to be hosting it, I believe, and it'll be on maximizing English in monolingual classes. So if you're a teacher who teaches students who have the same native language, but you're teaching them English, how can you maximize it, make sure they don't go into that their own language? So I hope you join us again. Thanks, Luke, for joining us, and thanks all our participants for taking part in our webinar. And I hope to see you again next week. Okay.